Kevin Warsh has zero choices about what he does with U.S. monetary policy. When the building is on fire, you spray the water at it to put the fire out. Like, you don't have a choice. It doesn't matter if you're a conservationist who wants to conserve the water. When the building's on fire, you got to spray the water at it. And that's what he's going to do. All right, so let's walk through some examples. The U.S. government is $38 trillion in debt. It is mathematically impossible for the United States to pay down their debt. They cannot. The U.S. government, under no circumstances, can pay off $38 trillion with the U.S. dollar being anywhere close to the value it is today. It's just completely mathematically impossible. The problem is the U.S. government owes a bunch of money to Japan and China and a bunch of other countries that have nuclear weapons. So the U.S. government is never going to default on debt that it owes to other countries that have nuclear weapons. And it's never going to default when there's a magic money printer in the basement. Just like a family with $50,000 of income and $1 million in debt with a magic money printer in the basement is never not going to eventually use the magic money printer in the basement to pay off their debts. They're just going to print the money. Even if it causes a ton of inflation, even if it's, horrible for working class people, even if wage earners get totally screwed, asset prices go through the roof, but wage earners get totally screwed. Doesn't matter. They're going to print the money. They have to print the money. The U.S. government is not going to default on its debt because it has a magic money printer that can make the money that it owes. Why would you ever default when you can magically make the money out of thin air, even if it involves screwing over your own people, which it does? Kevin Warsh is going to print the money. Everybody's going to print the money. It doesn't matter who took over as Federal Reserve Chairman, because we're in an age of something called fiscal dominance. What is fiscal dominance? Fiscal dominance is when the government is doing such a bad job of controlling spending that the spending decisions control the interest rate more so than the actual Federal Reserve controls the interest rate. So right now, it doesn't matter what the Federal Reserve wants to do. At the end of the day, they have to take care of this $38 trillion debt. And if they have high interest rates for sound money, that's going to result in a completely unaffordable $38 trillion. So they're going to lower the interest rates. They just are. It's just a mathematical certainty. So just like with the whole Doge thing of government, cutting, if you were, naive enough to think that the government was going to cut trillions of dollars out of its budget, then you might also be naive enough to say, oh, well, Kevin Warsh is going to result in a strong dollar and the U.S., currency is not going to inflate, blah, blah, blah. That's just totally not true. That's completely head in the sand, inconsistent with anything based on reality. He was appointed by Donald Trump. We know Donald Trump wants low interest rate. Donald Trump did not appoint somebody to be chairman of the Federal Reserve that's not going to do what he thinks they're going to do. Donald Trump wants lower interest rates, which means printing a ton of money. And Kevin Warsh is going to print a bunch of money. That's exactly what's going to happen.